Welcome back. I'm Alfred Lemrot Weber, and we're very privileged today to be with Melanie Vritschan, who's coming to us from Brussels. She is the Public Relations Director of the European Coalition Against Covert Harassment. Welcome, Melanie.
Thank you, Alfred.
Now, for the last several months, you've been organizing a conference to take place on November 20th in Brussels. Could you tell me could you tell us a bit about that conference?
Yes, of course. So, first of all, yeah, we are the European Coalition Against Covert Harassment felt very strongly that what was needed now was one big European or international event to raise awareness to the crimes of, non-consensual implantation with implant technology, and also the resulting torture with directed energy weapons, of which thousands and thousands of. So we wanted to organize an event that would bring like all actors concerned together, technology experts, legal experts, medical experts, politicians, and of course also, last but not least, the victims of this crime, to find solutions together to stop this abuse and these immense human rights violations that are going on around the globe. So we were very concerned because this is the first time ever that such a conference is organized, at least to my knowledge. So we were very concerned with having the right speakers there, with the quality of speakers we wanted to present. So we're very privileged and very lucky to have such good, speakers. We have Dr. Henning Witte, who's our legal advisor at EUCACH. We have Magnus Olsen, of course, who's our director at EUCACH. And then we have Peter Mooring from Stop Electronic Weapons, Stop Gang Stalking from StopEC Foundation. We have Dr. Rowley Kilde, who is medical advisor at EUCACH. And we have you, Alfred, which very much looking forward to. And last but not least, I think as my colleague Magnus Olsen has announced it last time when you interviewed him, is that we also have now the NSA whistleblower, Mr. William Binney, as a speaker. So we're looking forward to a very interesting program, I think, and something of which I hope that this will really be like the starting point of a general, not only raising awareness to these crimes, but also finding solutions for the victims, because this abuse has to end.
Right, and so we've put the website to the conference on this video, so that people who want to find out more about it can really access all of that information. Well, today is October 16th, 2014. So the conference will be a little more than a month off. But have you had any, I would say, blowback or attacks on you that you can reasonably attribute to your organizing this particular conference?
Yes, indeed. So the torture has definitely increased since we have been so successful in, if I may say so, pulling this event off, because it's not easy. And as I said, it was the first time, that such an event has been organized. So as soon as I would say the perpetrators realized that we were starting to look for venues, and we're having the first speakers confirmed, and that this event was really going to happen. That this was, they substantially increased the pressure and the torture on me personally, and from what I hear on my colleagues as well. But I have been, my property has been ransacked a couple of times, but that's, nothing out of the ordinary, unfortunately. But I've been really burned on my skin with these weapons. So there are visible burn marks that, you can see.
Yeah.
And so, yes, they have really tried everything to punish me for this organization, and also to prevent me from further going further with the organization of this event. Yeah.
Right. So that these are done with electromagnetic weapons.
Correct.
How are these things done? And my understanding is that, are there laws in place that would make this illegal?
Well, yeah, good question. Well, first of all, I've been non-consensually implanted, with implant technology, implant weapons. So those act as a receiver, basically, of this directed energy weapon, which makes it very, very easy to target me, either from satellite-based or from ground-based installations, because they have my exact position. So then. Regarding the legislation, we do have legislation in Europe, for example, the European Convention on Human Rights, which strictly prohibits any act of torture. But unfortunately, this is not, this legislation has to be enforced, or we have to create new appropriate EU legislation to prevent these kinds of abuses. So it is very difficult with this kind of weaponry and these kinds of attacks, because they're invisible. So, but we're working together with members of the Libby Committee, which is here in Europe, European Union, the Committee on Civil Liberties, Justice and Home Affairs here in the European Parliament. So we're lobbying with them basically to that they would ask the European Commission to draft appropriate EU legislation to ban this kind of nuclear torture weapons in the European Union.
Yes. Now, we're just going to take a moment now and go to some video that has been taken of the burns that have been inflicted on you by these new types. I guess they call it a new technology weapon, which use the implants and either satellite or remote distance weapons and in combination with the implants in you that could have been implanted through through the nanobots in the chemtrails?
Could have been. That's one possibility. I personally think it was done whilst I underwent surgery, which is often the case with the victims that turn to us. They undergo surgery, and then when they wake up from the surgery, these bizarre symptoms are suddenly there. Because you have to. It's a person has to be basically put to sleep to have that kind of access to his or her body to perform this operation. The disconcerting thing is that this is so easy to, it's basically all you need is a needle, all you need is an injection. Although personally, I have on my body various scars that I have had confirmed by doctors, a doctor certificate. For example, I've got very visible surgical scars behind my ears, which a doctor has confirmed that they can only, result from surgery. And I had never had any surgery done to my ears, at least not any that I consented to. So there are various ways to implant a person, but you're correct, Alfred. The nanobots that are sprayed via the chemtrails around the globe every day is one possibility.
One. Now, we're going to switch right now to that film. Okay, we're back. Could you just describe what it is that we just saw? There were sort of some very red raw areas on your skin. Mm-hmm. Could you describe what those are?
Yes. So I have sensors and implants in the inner thigh area. So I mean, I've got them in various places, but this is one. And so these, when they want to torture me, last week they concentrated particularly on this area. It might have to do with a recent meeting that I had just had in the European Parliament about these issues. This is at least when the torture started, the attack started, and these implants can be heated up via these directed energy attacks, which will then burn your skin. It will burn the flesh. And we saw only a small extract. There were actually blisters on my skin, and I've got two very painful sores caused by these burns. So yeah, that's what we saw.
Right. So as part of your duties as public relations and outreach director of EUCACH, the European Coalition Against Covert Harassment, you make appointments with the MPs and various committees in the European Parliament there in Brussels. And some force may be monitoring your movements. And so then as you go and make these meetings, then as negative reinforcement, they will torture you either before or after the meetings in order, using the principles of torture and psychological reinforcement, to deter you from going to these meetings. Is that what's occurring?
Correct. Yeah. So it's very true what you're saying, Alfred. It's either before the meeting in the hope of preventing me to go there, or if I still have the force to go there, and I usually do, whatever, come what may. But then to make me appear, because I have not slept, not focused, or to undermine my credibility at these meetings, or afterwards, and I say or, both can occur, afterwards to kind of punish me for having organized these meetings and having met with these members of parliament to raise awareness to these crimes. Yeah.
Now, I happen to have interviewed your colleague, the director of the European Coalition Against Covert Harassment, Magnus Olsson, on the 10th of October 2014, and he reported to me the day after that he felt as well that the day after the release of our interview, which caused a great impact on the internet, that he felt that, similar to yourself, there was a targeting of him, a special targeting of him. Do you find that usual in your work?
Yes, very much so. That's usually what occurs. That the perpetrators do not like when we, reach out and when we have these meetings. And I know also Magnus has been very active in, making this conference happening and getting us the right speakers there. And so I'm very aware of this. And yeah, it is a very common thing that after the what we consider as a success, this kind of torture occurs. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And one of the principal speakers, in fact, the keynote speaker, is going to be, uh, like Edward Snowden, a major whistleblower from the National Security Agency, NSA,
Correct.
William
Mm-hmm.
Binney.
Yes.
Do you feel that the moment that William Binney confirmed, do you feel that there was an escalation of these activity of these type of attacks upon you?
Absolutely. In fact, we had when that happened, when we had gotten his confirmation, William Binney's confirmation, we had a Skype meeting with the organizing committee to, to announce this and, to tell them that he had confirmed indeed. And right when we were talking about this in this meeting, I was hit with directed energy weapons. So, it was at the moment of the announcement. And has been not really stopped since then.
So it would appear then that it's a reasonable conclusion that the National Security Agency of the United States, the NSA, is connected to what we normally call the Transhumanist Agenda, the use of these uh, uh, directed energy weapons and implants to robotize humans. Is that a reasonable conclusion?
Certainly a reasonable conclusion. And what I can say to this is I only know that I have, like 2 years ago, I actually filed a complaint about, this non-consensual exploitation which had been done to me and which nobody ever really took notice of and nothing happened. And then, as you will well recall, Alfred, because we did an interview afterwards, just last Christmas, when I was just before the Christmas holidays, actually, when I spoke to the Libby committee about having this kind of meeting that I now had. After the European elections, that I now have had recently, where I asked for this kind of meetings to show our findings to them, and talked about various civil actions that have been already intended against the NSA for this kind of, torture via these frequency weapons. It was only then, when I was very close to actually achieving this meeting in the European Parliament, that I found myself suddenly in front of my door with 3 police officers who handcuffed me and intended a psychiatric commitment. So that made me think that this had certainly something to do with my successful efforts to organize such a meeting in the European Parliament.
Would it surprise you to learn that the National Security Agency, and therefore the United States, is committing war crimes against you and against all of the other targeted individuals against whom they are committing similar crimes?
No, it is not. It doesn't come to me as a surprise. Indeed, we consider this to be war crimes, and it's also like a silent genocide, because it really now concerns thousands, tens of thousands of innocent citizens around the globe. And with our sister organization, the International Center Against the Use of Covert Technologies, we organize these scannings, radio frequency scannings for members of the public. And what I can tell you is that the people that come, well, they are younger and younger, and more children are coming. So this is definitely a genocide, and it is a crime against humanity, and it has to stop. So it doesn't surprise me at the least. I totally agree with this statement.
So we finally have probable cause to identify one of the principal perpetrators of the Transhumanist Agenda, which is the National Security Agency of the U.S. government, headed by President Barack Obama. Is that a reasonable conclusion?
Correct. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is extraordinary. This is extraordinary. Could you tell us a bit about the 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 legislation that is planned to be introduced uh, uh, to stop all of this, the the legislation that will be introduced by EUCACH working with the various committees at the European Parliament.
Yes. So, in fact, I've just during these recent meetings, I've just handed the updated legislation proposal that EUCACH has done to the members of the European Parliament and especially the LIBE Committee. And this legislation is basically intended to ban these new physics torture weapons in the European Union. And also, what is new, and I think it's equally important actually, is to what should also be prohibited is that the symptoms of electronic terrorism, of these attacks against our citizens, are then used or misused to place people in unwarranted psychiatric commitment, which has happened so often in the past and still is. So, and also there should be, it also includes something that is sufficiently deterrent, let's say penalties for committing this kind of crime. And I think our last estimate was 1 million euros per individual infraction, case, if I remember well. So this is what this legislation is about, to ban these torture weapons in the European Union.
Very good. So, how can people find out more about your work at the European Coalition?
Right. So I'm part of EUCACH. So we have the EUCACH contact email on the website. So eucach.org. And if you want to address your concerns, your questions, your queries to me, you just note that this is a question for Melanie, and this concerns my work, and this will be forwarded on to me. Maybe in this framework, I should also mention that next week I'm actually going to Geneva to meet again with the World Organization Against Torture about these issues. And this time I'm not alone. I've teamed up with a very respected French organization, which is called Robin des Toits. It's an organization that normally defends the rights of electro-hypersensitive people. But the lady Irene Hardy got in touch with me because she realized that what her members were describing was actually more on the torture. They were describing being tortured rather than simple electro-hypersensitivity. So we have teamed up, and because I think it's important that this organization, the World Organization Against Torture, for those who do not know, is an international network. They have about 300 NGOs in their network that are committed against the fight against torture, arbitrary executions, rendition, and all these kinds of human rights violations. So we're going there next week, and we do hope to get their support to create this appropriate EU legislation and to have it enforced. So because their voice is certainly heard here, at least in the European institutions, and also in the UN.
Right. Now, one other service that I know that your organization, in connection with another, has been providing is that people who want to get screened as to whether they have been implanted
Mm-hmm.
can come to you, and you have special equipment, technology to do this. Can you talk about this a bit?
Yes, absolutely. This is actually done via our sister organization, the International Against the Use of Covered Technologies, ISAAC.org, of which I'm also a team member. So, and we have done this indeed. So we do free of charge radio frequency scans for members of the public, people that have these kind of complaints or symptoms that can come to us or are tortured in this way, and believe that what could have actually happened to them is that they could have been non-consensually implanted with these nanotechnology implant weapons, and so they can come to us and we will scan them free of charge for radio frequency emissions. It is good that you mentioned this, Alfred, because I would actually like to use this interview to make an appeal to any kind of university or research centers or technical institute to maybe lend us their Faraday cage, because it is very important that we do this kind of test in a Faraday cage in a shielded environment to totally rule out that the emissions that we measure come from an outside source, and to prove like this scientifically that this means that the person has been implanted, at least that the emissions are coming from his or her body. We have done this already very successfully once in 2012 in the research center in Belgium, but we now have scanned so many people, let's say for the preliminary scan in an uncontrolled environment, that we need to get all these people now in a controlled environment in a Faraday cage to so that this is can be considered scientific proof. So if there is any university out there, any technical institute or research center that would like to help us with this process and let us use their Faraday cage to do this kind of tests, testing of the public, we would be very grateful.
Oh, excellent, excellent. And so now on between now and November 20th, people wanting to come to the conference, as I understand it, can go to the website and look at the activities and then get reserved seats and get tickets. Is that the case?
Correct. So they can go to coveredharassmentconference.com and click on tickets and register there. We have 2 tariffs actually for victims, because one of the aspects of this crime is also to deplete the victim financially of all of his or her possessions, and people find themselves impoverished. Also via these constant illegal entries into people's home, where they ransack your property, and so they do their best to keep you financially down also, because you have to do all these repairs. So for victims of electronic terrorism, we have a preferential tariff of 19 euros. And this includes, the lunch and 2 coffee breaks. So I think this should be affordable. And for people that are not victims, for regular delegates, we have the tariff of 79 euros, which should also be quite democratic, I should say.
Sure. Now, people have asked, for example, those who are in North America and elsewhere, where as a practical matter, they just cannot come to Brussels, or even if they're in Europe somewhere. Will there be videos of the presentations that will be available at some point?
Yes, indeed. That is foreseen, and if you cannot attend the conference for these kind of reasons, you can also order a conference material package on the website. I think it's 35 euros, but it will contain all the presentations, all the speeches, and so it should be quite complete. And that way, we hope to provide the opportunity to people that cannot travel and cannot be with us on that day to also, be informed on what has been going on at this conference and what was the result.
Excellent. So, so from your perspective, I know that you have been working at this for some time now, and as a result of these attacks done on you, and have gone through many unexpected life changes. Do you feel that?
Yeah.
Do you feel that we're starting to turn a corner? Do you feel that it's starting to make progress now in terms of exposing this agenda and making steps to begin to stop it?
Yes, that is the positive thing I wanted to announce today, or what I can really see is that people do start to wake up, and we're getting through to members of the European Parliament and to other politicians, also on the local level, because I have started this year to organize a meeting with my district here in Brussels, where I live, with the Brussels mayor, to inform them about these crimes and make them aware what is actually going on in our communities, and that these crimes are perpetrated on innocent citizens. And that has been, I think, fruitful, because I know that now the mayor is, when I file a complaint at the police for again an illegal entry into my home and the ransacking of my property, as he told me to do every time I should file the complaint, he's paying attention to this, and police reports that formerly disappeared somewhere in nature, or never got to the prosecutor, or we cannot find the report anymore, we cannot find the officers anymore that came to your place and filed a report. Such things do not occur anymore, because I got the mayor's attention. And in this context, I think it's also important to say that, because we just spoke about EUCACH, our sister organization, which is based in the United States, in California. They have just been very successful in doing the same, meeting with a mayor or in the city of California, and also with police chiefs there, and have exposed all our findings. Because this was an international study we're doing, scanning members of the public, and informed them about these crimes. And I'm very pleased to announce that they have formed a collaboration, which has not previously existed. I think it might be the first of its kind. We have helped to develop a protocol for when a victim calls the police and for this kind of complaints and being tortured, so that the police knows how to take care of these people, and to prevent also this psychiatric diagnosis, and that the person is just considered as a psychiatric patient, but that his or her complaints will be taken seriously, and that there's a protocol established how to deal with such complaints. So I think that's very positive. And what we're now trying to do, and I hope the NSA is not listening to us, but I know there are, but I'm going to say it anyway, is that I'm now going to try to establish a bridge between the contacts that I've made here on the political level, at the mayor's office here in Brussels, between the city in California we're working with, so that they make exchange experiences and information. And that way, I hope that we will finally succeed in bringing these crimes to an end.
They can become sister cities.
Exactly. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. Now, well, that's extraordinary, because the the kind of conventional view is that, quote, the police are part of it. But you're showing that that's a stereotype. And if you go to the local level and
Mhm.
work with individual units, you can find a unit that is willing to work on protocols, correct?
Correct. I think that, yeah, this might be possible that there's certain rogue elements
Yeah.
in the police force or that are part of it. But I think at the end of the day, Alfred, we work with individuals. We work with people, you know. We are all humans. And, I think the personal contact is very important. And in my case, I think I succeeded in establishing this contact. And because when the mayor saw, you know, I had taken photos of all the damage caused to my apartment, to my car, all this, and which was very visible. And you know, I mean, nobody in their right mind would think that I would do this myself. I mean, so when I showed this to the mayor, he was very shocked. He didn't seem aware that this was going on. So I think we can find leaders that do want to do the right thing, you know, and politicians. And in this case, this was, you know, this was the case. And I do now hope to be able to establish this sister contact with the city in California we're working with, and then we should take it from there.
Very, very good. Well, we've sort of come to the end of this to the end of this segment, but do you have any words that you'd like to leave our viewers with here in the just on the eve of your of this great event, this landmark conference in this area?
Yes, maybe this is also like a lead up to this conference. I have been getting many calls on my mobile, you know, text messages, emails, and but they're often quite desperate. And I can really understand it. It is, you know, these people are horribly tortured. I mean, I feel it in my own body. It is really absolute gruesome torture.
Yeah.
You know, what we're going through. So I can understand the desperation, the need to talk to somebody, you know, about this. But I would just like to say to all the people, all the victims that have contacted me, you know, if I do not reply immediately or do not think that I do not take your concern seriously, but be rest assured that we are out there and we are fighting this and we're doing everything we can to bring this to an end. So they should be feel reassured that their concerns are heard. And it's not because I do not immediately reply to an email that we're not working on this to bring this to an end, and that we do not, share their suffering, or that we do everything in our power to stop this. So a little bit of let's say patience and understanding, please, if I do not respond immediately.
Yes, right. Also, it occurred that perhaps the conference would be a good place for people who are being targeted and by this, for them to meet and network.
Correct.
And it's a good place. Is that something that you've given thought to?
Good. Absolutely. In fact, this conference is only part, well, it's certainly the main part of a whole, you know, event for victims of electronic terrorism. There will be also an evening program where people can express themselves freely and share their experiences. And we certainly want to encourage their declarations, their testimonies also. So yes, we hope that this will be like a platform of exchange for, you know, for
So,
all for the
so this is
content.
like this is really like a larger forum that is
Yes,
being held, and a forum also for the individuals that have been targeted to come together and have a forum where they can give voice to all of these issues.
yes, absolutely. We hope that we will provide a respectful environment for all of
Right.
their testimonies, and because this, people suffer greatly. But yes, this is one of the objectives of the conference, that
Oh, good.
to stimulate this kind of exchange between the victims also.
Yeah, and I understand that you invited members of the European parliaments and their staffs there, perhaps.
Yes, I did. So, well, I took advantage of this meeting we had with the
Hmm.
with one of the Libby committee members and his staff last week. I've invited all the Libby committee members and also other members of the European Parliament to attend. And yeah, so we hope to have some representation there. And if it's not them personally, because they might have been
Yeah,
traveling,
other.
at least their staff or parliamentary assistants that then can
Yeah,
brief them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just to let people who aren't familiar with the terminology, the LIBA committee covers human rights. Is that the case?
Human and civil rights, so
Yeah,
that they're there
human
to
and civil
oversee that
rights.
the democratic values in the European Union are observed, and
Right,
respected.
right. And as I understand it, there will be mainstream media coverage of this is planned as well.
This is the
Hope,
plan, yeah. So
hopefully.
yeah, hopefully. So we should be able to confirm that shortly,
Oh, okay,
but
good.
not tonight yet.
Great, great. Well, I certainly want to thank you for taking time out to come with to share all of this with us uh, today, and we look forward to your coming on again in the future as events develop. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you to you too.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you
you.
very
Bye
much.
bye.